Good morning, beautiful souls. Happy Friday. Well, it's Tim in the woods, enjoying this very kind of Scorpio morning. It's dark, leaves are falling. It's probably going to rain in a second. In fact, I'm keeping a beady eye on a big dark cloud to my left, which, well, I've chosen to be out here, so there you go. If I get wet, I get wet. And yeah, just a big thank you to my brother in the light, David, for filling in for me last Friday. And here we are. So we are right deep in shadow season. If you watched the video that I did a little while back with my friend Lexi Wrights and talking about the period of time that we're in at the moment, and we couldn't be deeper into the clearing of density if we tried. This is it. This is one of what we could consider almost a final push. And I had to pinch myself a couple of days ago. I can just remember being on the stage in Portugal this time last year as we anchored in the energies and the light of the monadic merge. And for those of you that have been on board for a while, you'll probably remember this. In fact, you would have been probably been part of what we did, either consciously or unconsciously. And Diana Cooper, and it's like, for those of you that don't know, my good friend and just long-term Ascension worker. She's been so dedicated to the light for so many years, decided to organise a gathering in Portugal, in the Algarve, on what originally was going to be a holiday and actually turned out to be an international light raising event where so many of us connected to it was called the Monadic Merge, and this was done live on stage via live stream, went all out around the world. And from that point onwards, every month, I believe it is, Diana has been receiving upgrades to the Monadic Merge, and it has had such an incredibly profound effect. And now we're beginning to look at percentages. We're looking at percentages of awakened souls. Just to clarify something here, there's a difference between there's two kinds of percentages that I talk about. I've been referring recently to the quantity of beings that are illumined, awakened, holding their mighty I Am presence on this planet. It's a little bit different for those that have actually been or have agreed to do the full aspect of their monadic merge, which is what we did in October last year. It's a very powerful process. The chances are, if you know what I'm talking about, or you kind of get like a resonance or an understanding of it, you will have been through this process. And I feel that a lot of us will just automatically, on a subconscious level, be undergoing this process. So a monadic merge is when all of the monads, and there's you listening to this, yes you, I'm singling you out, that you are a group, one of 144 souls existing in a like a super consciousness called a monad, and within that 144 souls are 12 sub kind of groups. So you get 12 groups of 12 within a monad, and each group of 12 is called an oversoul. Now, many of us have connected to members of our oversoul and our monad here on Earth. This is one of the unique and incredibly powerful qualities of our ascension process. It's so unheard of in the usual kind of scheme of incarnations throughout the universe. Usually, you'd get 144 souls within a monad, and it'd be like someone chucked a monad grenade in the middle of it. Every single soul would just go off in their own direction, off on their merry way. They'd have their own missions. They'd be doing whatever they were they'd agreed to do. It could be anywhere, literally anywhere in the whole of the cosmos, throughout all of the dimensions, in any space, in any time, in any body. but the absolute unique quality of what we're doing at the moment has brought a huge group or focused quantity of us to one place, and that's planet Earth, and we're all beginning to recognize each other. And this has been going on for 10 years now, or it has been in my experience. We see somebody that we've served with in past lives in Atlantis and Lemuria or ancient Egypt, or even maybe Arthurian times, and we're like, I know you. And the second you make this connection, your eyes, your heart, the soul essence, the energy, there's a huge influx of memories and information and soul keys that come back immediately. So this process has really accelerated since this time last year, since the monadic merge, and this has boosted the awakening process on planet Earth. So we begun this year at 37% of the people on this planet being almost eligible to be part of the awakening process. You know, we've agreed to do this, and by the 21st of December we're looking at 50%, the golden ratio. Again, if this is news to you, check out my previous videos, because I've been talking about this quite recently. So what's the point of what we're doing at the moment? You know, we're kind of deep. It's almost like we're in Mirkwood. You know, if those of you that have read The Hobbit by Tolkien, the little ones and the wizard kind of went through something called Mirkwood. Or did they have I don't think they had Gandalf with them at the time, which is why they got into trouble. Anyway, so they went through Mirkwood, and everything was dark and dingy, and there were hallucinations, and they were guided off in the wrong way, and they just didn't know what was going on, and until everything kind of was right. You know, it's a story at the end of the day. So I would say that we are in Mirkwood at the moment. We're kind of traversing through the illusions of the shadow world. We have all of this stuff going on around us, which is highly distracting. You know, we've got the nonsense world of politics and the rules and the regulations and the powers that were, that are kind of like making all of this just ridiculous stuff up. And it's our job to remain focused, in a state of love, to remain undistracted, and quite simply to stick to the path. Okay, so say we were a group of hobbits, and we're traversing through Mirkwood, and we were told to stick to the path. Don't go off the path in any way, shape or form. If you go off the path, you're screwed, basically. And so we've got one main route through, but the whole idea of the consciousness of Mirkwood is to get you to stray from the path, to provide you with something that's distracting, false exits, you know, false pathways, people beckoning in the mists, and all of this kind of stuff. And so it just feels to me that we are right slap bang in the middle of that forest or that wood at the moment, with all the shadows, with all of the kind of the visible darkness, the distractions, and also the alchemy, the pure magic that has been, you know, the remnants of what magic the third dimension still has the power to hold. Everything is being thrown at us. And not to mention, as I kind of touched on at the beginning of the video, this position of Pluto in Capricorn. So Pluto in Capricorn is basically my analogy is it's Mirkwood, and on the 19th of November we come out the other side of this, but we've got a very important job to do, not just to stay on the pathway as we traverse this darkened wood, but also to deal with what comes up and what is presented for ourselves during that period of time. Instead of being afraid of the things that occur around us, it's almost our duty to utilize the energies that are given to us. We've trained so fastidiously before coming down to this planet that we know what we're doing. There is nothing that's going on around us at the moment that we haven't encountered before when we've been training in the higher realms, or some of us may have stepped down through the cosmic heart. We might have stepped down through Neptune or any of the other or Sirius or any of the other training schools. You will have been well drilled on what you are doing now. Okay, there is nothing new that you are navigating, because you would have been tested upon your pathway before you incarnated. It is simply the fear of the unknown that is creating a lot of confusion amongst us. What's going to happen now? When's the hammer going to fall? What are the baddies going to do next? You know, it's all about what's going to be good, what's coming. You know, when's the next retrograde? When's the next full moon? When am I going to get my energy back? Where's my health? Where's my sanity? All of the other questions that we kind of regularly ask ourselves on a day-to-day basis. And it's right here. Everything that you need to navigate this pathway is already within you. Yes, you can be re-tortoised again. You can be re-triggered into the process of remembering, and that is what is the primary role of the spiritual teachers, the established spiritual teachers of this world at the moment, is to be the catalyst for the relearning, the re-education of your soul and you, as you begin to retrieve your keys, your codes, your gifts and your talents. But so high is the bar that is being set now by the cosmos, that in order to step into this, and again this is kind of like a repetition of information that I've spoken about previously, this 4-week period, or the period up until the 19th of November, is your golden opportunity to leave everything that you don't wish to carry, that you can't carry, basically, into the fifth eye, or into the concept or the framework of the fifth dimension. Once Pluto enters into Aquarius on the 19th of November, and this is a significant shift, it is a significant planetary it's something which is designed to provide the boundaries of energy, the walls, the floor, the roof, even down to the more powerful aspects of the circuitry, almost like a circuit board running around a house if a new house has been built. That's what Pluto in Aquarius provides. It's the boundaries of energy within which we operate at a higher frequency. It sets the platform for it. There are rules and there are regulations for living in certain frequencies, and in order to be aligned with that, we have had to have gone through each of the boxes within the rooms of our personal house and emptied out everything that is no longer fit for purpose. And a lot of those boxes aren't open. You know, welcome to Sun being in Scorpio, welcome to shadow season, but very particularly this is almost, you know, I'm not going to say it's our final opportunity, but it's one that has been literally gifted to us in order for us to do this work. And I'm on this particular subject. I've got an event tonight, a Zoom event that I haven't given an awful lot of notice for. I was just very, very prompted to run it this evening. Don't usually run events on a Friday night. And so it's called Embracing Your Shadow, and we're going to be working on self-love and the releasing of things that we don't need with love, because we can all get very angry about it and protest and shout and chuck our toys out of our pram at our guides and our teams of light and call them all this and that and the other. They've heard it all before. They don't care. You know, if you've had one of those episodes recently, and I know quite a few people that have had, you know, like they've had words with the universe, they've had words with their angels and their guides. Don't feel guilty about it, because you're not the only one. And it's like almost like a repetitive process, like, why me? Why am I going through this again? why have I got this reoccurring issue? Why have I got this stuff going on within me? And when you get bored of asking that question, like, you eventually turn your vitriol to the teams of lights, like, how dare you how dare you set me this test again? And they're just like, yeah, they've heard it all before, believe me. And my lot just laugh at me now, basically, and just they know I'll get over it eventually and crack on with the job in hand. So all of these boxes in your house, in your rooms, I mean, they could be in the cupboard, they could be stored in the etheric basement underneath your floorboards. We're going to be going through all of these tonight, metaphorically, in this Zoom event. And the idea is to make this as purposeful as possible. Have purpose to your actions. You know, if it might be grueling, it might be deep, it might be mucky at the moment, you might be experiencing things that you don't want to see, feel, hear and know about. That's where we are. Okay, we're clearing the astral, we're detaching from it, we're losing all of that stuff that we've been carrying for generations, and this is generational karma as well that's clearing. It's not just our own personal stuff, you know, stuff that we took on because we're capable of doing it, knowing that at some point we would have to go through the process that we're going through now and release it all, not just for ourselves but for everybody who's existed on this planet before us, sharing timelines, sharing genetic coding, sharing soul keys. And you know, a lot of these beings, they might even be on your team now, kind of rooting for you here on planet Earth. So have purpose to your clearing, have purpose and intention to be fixed on the job in hand, because it's easy to get caught up in the suffering. It's easy to kind of feel so, you know, like browbeaten and just like had enough of it, that it just becomes a pointless slog. One of the things that has been really kind of, it's become quite prominent, and I'm noticing a pattern at the moment, is that you might notice that you're picking up more entities than normal. You might be kind of like having more negative energies attach themselves to you than you normally would. Again, you know, roll with this one a little bit. It's indicative of the process that we're going through. In a lot of cases, you will have an agreement with an entity, with a negative energy, with an attachment, a cord, or maybe it's even a living person who's bringing that energy into your life to show you where the weak points are, the chinks in your armour, and help you bring attention to that particular point. It might be your heart chakra, it might be your solar plexus, it might be an old wound in your third eye, or your throat, anything like this. It can be rolled into any particular form. It's, if you're picking up more than normal, if you're like, oh god, not another one, not another attachment, not another entity, it's not because you're a bad light worker and you're not doing your job properly. It's because you've got things to clear and you've got stuff to achieve and do, and once that's gone and you've brought your attention to that point of why and the reason behind the attachment and the happenings and the energy bindings and agreements, then you've done your clearing, you've done your work there. So don't worry about it if that's your thing at the moment. I've noticed a real pattern in it, including in myself, and my routine is pretty nailed down, and I'm good at it as well, and I'm still picking stuff up. So yeah, well, it does look a little bit like the sun might come out here probably as soon as I finish this video. I bet the sun comes out. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up there, really. I think I could sit here and talk about shadow season and clearing and the energies, but we all have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and we've got the next spiritual date occurring at 11/11 in the not so distant future, and then after that we are rolling rapidly towards the December solstice, and that's going to be a big one. We can feel it building now, as always, but we're looking for that golden ratio, that harmony of 50-50, 50 people who've connected to their I am presences on this planet, and that's massive. It's going to be such a game changer. So my lovelies, happy Friday. If you're joining me tonight, I'm starting at 7 p.m. and we'll be running for an hour, so I'll put the details for the workshop underneath this video. Sending you all so much love from my heart to yours. See you soon. Bye for now.